Hey Justin, to get this project up and running, what you can do is manually do what Bundler does. So, for example, I'm just looking at your screen here. So we've got the gem chosen assets. So in your from the terminal, you can type in gem install chosen assets, and that will install that. So if you go through the gem file and basically do gem install Rails, gem install PG, gem install SAS Rails, that will install those all those gems for you. The only thing is you want to make sure you install the right version. So this one here is what this thing afterwards is saying: install version 4.3 or greater. And the squiggly greater than or greater than equal do different things, which don't matter too much. Um, but what you want to do is check the versions that are being used. So, for example, especially with like chosen assets, this is probably installing version 2, but now that it's, now that we're in the future, maybe version 3 is the most recent. So this isn't actually specifying, so this would install version 3, which might give you problems. So what you actually want to do is go into the gemfile.lock, and that will actually show you the version that was last used and committed to the repository. So if I've got a lock file here, so we can see that, for example, bitters 1.70 was the last used one here, and benchmark IPs 2.7.2 was the last used. So basically, you can basically go through here, and so for gem chosen assets, you'll have in your gemfile.lock, it'll say chosen assets brackets 1.2.3. So then you can do gem install chosen assets space dash v equals 1.2.3, and that'll make sure that you install the correct version. So if you run through that through all of the dependencies on here, that will install all of those. And what's happening behind the scenes with RVM is basically making a folder for every single version of Ruby, and it will put in all of your gems for that Ruby version of Ruby and the version of Ruby into that folder. And then when you switch to different projects, it will link to the right folder with the right version of Ruby and the right version of all the gems. So that's what's going on behind the scenes with RVM. And basically, it's doing a few other magic things. But the idea basically is that when you switch into this project, it will switch to the 2.2.4 version of Ruby and the 2.2.4 version of your gems. And then when you switch to a newer project, it will use 2.6.3. But what would probably be best for getting this project up and running is install 2.2.4, which you already have, be using that. Install these manually without Bundler. And then you can get it up and running, make sure everything's working, and then you can look at doing, as a second step, upgrading Ruby to the latest version and your gems to the latest version, if that's something that you want to tackle.